Welcome back to another edition of 60 Super Bowls in 60 Days. We are at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. It is February 3rd, 2013. We are at Super Bowl 47, and it is the Baltimore Ravens versus the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I will give you at least 5 seconds to tell me why this Super Bowl is so special and why this is the most interesting matchup of all the Super Bowls. Okay, time's up. Here's the common denominator. John Harbaugh and Jim Harbaugh. You want to know? Let me just give you a little proof of the concept. Yep, John Harbaugh and then Jim Harbaugh. This is the first time in Super Bowl history that two coaches are actually brothers coaching in a Super Bowl. It will not be the last time we see two brothers facing off in a Super Bowl, of course. That'll be way later on, of course. But this is probably the most unique and incredible Super Bowl that I have ever get to witness and watch, with Beyonce being the Super Bowl halftime performance, because why not? And the game was absolutely a thrill. 34-31, Baltimore Ravens win their second Super Bowl ever. And I have to say, man, this was an absolute doozy. So here's a little statistical analysis for all of this. Joe Flacco became MVP, and he was tearing up 2013 playoffs like it was hot night through butter. Is Joe Flacco elite? Is he the elite? I don't know. He went 22 of 33 for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. Colin Kaepernick went 16 of 28 for 302 yards and a touchdown and interception. For the Russian, Ray Rice, 20 carries for 59 yards and 2.95 a pop. Vernon Price, 12 carries for 33 yards and 2.75 a pop. For the Russians of San Francisco, Frank Gore, 19 carries for 110 yards and 5.79 a pop and a touchdown. Colin Kaepernick, 7 carries for 62 yards and 8.86 a pop and a touchdown. So he managed to do this on the ground and in the air. Pretty good dual quarterback at that time. LaMichael James, 3 carries for 10 yards and 3.3 a back. For the receivers, Anquan Bolden, 6 catches for 104 yards and 17.33 a pop and a touchdown. Jacoby Jones, 1 catch for 56 yards and a touchdown. Ed Jackson and Torrey Smith combined to have 4 catches for 72 yards and 18 a pop. Dennis Pitia, 4 catches for 26 yards and 6.5 a pop. Vontae Leach, 3 catches for 10 yards and 3.33 a pop. And that was for the Baltimore receivers. For the San Francisco receivers, Michael Crabtree of Texas Tech lore, 5 catches for 109 yards and 21.8 a pop and a touchdown. Vernon Davis, 6 catches for 104 yards and 17.3 a pop. Delane Walker, 3 catches for 48 yards and 16 a pop. Randy Moss. You see that coming. He got 2 catches for 41 yards and 2.05 a pop. Now for the defense. Ed Reed, mighty, great Ed Reed. Interception and 5 tackles. Paul Kruger, 2 sacks and 3 tackles. Arthur Jones, sack, 2 tackles. Daniel Ellerber, 9 tackles. Ray Lewis in what is his final Super Bowl and probably final game in his incredible Hall of Fame career in the Baltimore Purple. Yep. 7 tackles. Corey Graham, 6 tackles. Courtney Upshaw, 5 tackles and forced fumble. D'Angelo Tyson, 4 tackles. Kerry Williams, 3 tackles. For the San Francisco defense, Amon Brooks and Rain Donald have a sack. Patrick Willis have 10 tackles. Navarro Bowman and / Deshaun Goldson with 9 tackles. Dante Winner with 8 tackles. Chris Culliver and Isaac Polga with 4 tackles. Darrell Brown, 3 tackles and forced fumble. Carlos Rogers, Justin Smith, and Delane Walker with 3 tackles each. For the special teams and kickoff returns, or we call it the special teams, Jacoby Jones, 5 returns for 206 yards combined, 41.2 on those returns, and a touchdown, which pretty much put the game out of reach. Well, sort of out of reach. I'll tell you that later. Justin Tucker, when he's not like putting hands on other people, 4 for 4 PATs for 2 for 2 field goals. David Akers, 2 for 2 PATs and 3 for 3 field goals. Total yards, Baltimore 367 to San Francisco 468. 1 turnover for Baltimore for 2 for San Francisco. And my God, this Super Bowl was an absolute classic. Do not let the scoreline fool you, though. It was a close game. It was a close game, but my goodness, it was a beatdown. For like you can say 3.25 of the match, this game was a blowout. And if you look at the entire play sheet and to look at the entire play-by-play thing, it was a domination. First, it was a Joe Flacco pass to Anquan Bolden. Then they kick a field goal, and then it went 14-3 when Joe Flacco managed to Dennis Pita for a touchdown. Then it was Joe Flacco to Jacoby Jones for 56 yards. And then at the start of the second half, after David Akers kicked a field goal, Jacoby Jones once again go for 108 yards and a touchdown. Probably the longest kickoff return in probably any Super Bowl. Not opening kickoff, but probably the longest kickoff return ever in the Super Bowl. So Jacoby Jones was pretty balling out in this tournament. So that was 21-3. And then 21-6 by David Akers. I think we're about to go to the reason why the Super Bowl was so unique at that time. In 2013, at that time, there was a power outage that took place in the stadium. It was about 34 minutes when the power outage go out. Oh yeah, you can see the images, by the way. I think I could put that in a thumbnail, of course. So this thing, of course, took place in around 34 minutes at that time, and that's why we have the name of the Blackout Bowl. It was 20-6 at that time. This was after, the kickoff return touchdown. It was 20-6 at that time, and then the blackout happens, and then it was a really long blackout, 34 minutes to be exact. Hence the reason why this is called the. Yeah, I think I already said that already. Okay, just once the blackout resumes and once power restored and all kinds of stuff, it was kind of like if you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, kind of like the moon turns red, and then the Fire Nation just absolutely managed to bulldoze the Water Kingdom. That's what it felt like in this game. Once the blackout returns, San Francisco were on the charge. So, that first Colin Kaepernick made a touchdown pass to Michael Crabtree to make it 28-13. Then Frank Gore with a rushing touchdown, make it 20-28. Then a 34-yard field goal, 28-23. And the game was kind of peter out in the third quarter, and then right to the fourth quarter, and then Justin Tucker kicked a field goal to make it 23-31. And then they marched down the field, of course, make it 29-31. With Colin Kaepernick was with one of those signature ones to kind of kiss the arm, of course, as his signature, of course. And then there was 10:04 remaining. It was 31-29, and now we have ourselves a game. Now we have ourselves a proper game, of course. And then, of course, there was so much defense, of course, in the last couple of minutes. And then, let's be honest, Joe Flacco's pass was kind of incomplete. Joe Tucker with a kickoff, of course. Then it was 4:19 remaining, and then, San Francisco have a chance to win. They got 8 yards from Frank Gore, then 8 yards from Colin Kaepernick, then a completed pass to Michael Crabtree for 24 yards, 33 yards rushing for Frank Gore, then a Michael James for 2 yards, then incomplete pass, and then incomplete pass, which maybe I think should have been a holding penalty, of course, but let's be honest, do we really want to see a Super Bowl game ended with a penalty? That's called foreshadowing, of course, but it didn't happen. Then, of course, Baltimore take a safety, and that was that. 34-31, Baltimore win the Super Bowl, and then Ray Lewis go out on top, and Joe Flacco became elite, was Super Bowl MVP, and having an MVP performance in the postseason. And this was one of the most wildly entertaining Super Bowls ever. Because let's be honest, from the third quarter, from the start of the third quarter, it was going to be a blowout. It was going to be a Baltimore blowout. And then the blackout happened. And then San Francisco nearly ready to win that game. It was close to being like the biggest comeback in all of Super Bowl, of course, to be honest. So it didn't happen. But my God, it was so, so interesting to watch. And if you have the time, please go watch the Super Bowl. And maybe craft some theories, of course, why the blackout happened. Maybe this was the halftime show or all the kind of stuff. But this was a fun Super Bowl. This was an absolute fun Super Bowl to watch. And thank you all for watching this whole thing with me. Next up, tomorrow will be Super Bowl 49. And a pretty interesting matchup between an immovable object and an unstoppable force. And I'm going to spoil you right now. It did not end pretty for one team. Anyways, catch you on the flip side. Like, comment, subscribe to this video. We're almost to 15 subscribers. Thank you all for sharing and doing all kinds of stuff. And hopefully we'll be more Super Bowl videos and statistics to come. Goodbye.